Hey everyone, good evening. It's Chris here, Chris Lefebvre with Test with Chris. And today I wanted to talk about doing split tests in Clickfunnels and a couple pitfalls that you need to be aware of, because I stumbled upon this, the first one I'm going to share with you, by accident. And I've noticed that a lot of people make this mistake. So I'm just going to share my screen here. My Clickfunnels account. I use Clickfunnels for all my landing pages and marketing. And I'm going to hide my face for a second here so you can zoom in. But I'm going to create a split test. And if you've never done a split test in Clickfunnels, I'll show you how to do one now. It's pretty easy. So this is the page I'm going to show you. It's the second page in my funnel. And the first thing I want you to notice, this is how you create the split test. But before I do that, I'm going to edit the page. I want to show you something. So not every page has this, but if your ClickFunnels page that you're going to split test has an integration built in through the page editor, an email integration or adding to a list, I want to show you something. So this page has an integration right here. I'm using Actionetics internal to Clickfunnels, but it's adding to this list. So you can see it's all connected. Now, I'm going to exit, and I'm going to create the split test page. So to start a split test, all you need to do is hit create variation, and I'm going to duplicate the first page. We're calling it the control, the page on the left. So it's going to make an exact clone of that page. And now what you could do is go in and edit the page, the variation. Here's the control, original page, here's the variation. So the idea is we're going to make a change on this page. Then we're going to change this gauge to 50-50. So half the traffic goes to one page, half goes to the other. And then we can look in our stats to see if the change we're making is increasing conversions or not. But here's the pitfall, the first pitfall I want to show you. So let me edit this page. Let's say you were going to split test a headline. So you just clone the page, you came in here, and you change this headline, and you hit save, and then you start your split test. Well, here's something you got to notice. Your integration on the copied page is gone. So if you're adding people to a list, like I am, I'm going to hit Actionetics, which is Clickfunnels internal, add to list. So this is what I had set up on the other page, and as you can see, the clone page disconnects that integration. You have to reconnect it, or what's going to happen is half your traffic that opts in on this page is not going to end up on your follow-up funnel list, on your email list. So for this one, they're going to this list. Save that. So now this duplicate page is hooked up to my integration, see? But it's easy to overlook that, and you could be losing, when you're running your split test, especially if you're doing a lot of volume, you may be losing a bunch of opt-ins. You're losing their emails because that integration was disconnected. So that's one pitfall. Now, the next one I want to show you is in Clickfunnels, you have this top URL, which you can change by hitting the sprocket or by going to settings, funnel settings. But so I just have it, testforchris.com, approved monthly. Then you can actually change your URL here. So I usually do the same URL as the top, but I put like a number next to it. So it's number 1. But here's what I wanted to show you. When you duplicate the page, the system makes the URL this just long, random numbers so that it's a unique page. So it may not impact your split test, but it might. I've never tested this myself. It would actually be an interesting test to see if your URL changes your conversion rate. I don't know if it would. I think most people ignore the URLs, but I just like to change this so it'd be like approved monthly 2. And I update the page. But now when they go to this page, it's approved monthly too. So it's not going to, ruin your split test if you don't do that. But I'm just kind of particular, and I like my URLs to stay consistent. So it's something you could do. Now let's say you're ready to run the test. Here's another thing. You can actually send more or less traffic to one page. It's not just 50-50, but I highly recommend that you always use 50-50 because the traffic coming into the funnel at one given time, especially if you have multiple sources of traffic, is a source of variation for your test. So you want this one visitor to go here, next visitor to go to the variation. Next visitor goes to the control, next one goes to the variation. So always use 50-50. If you give more traffic to one or the other, you may be messing up your test results. So you hit apply changes, and it saves. So now anyone that hits that page, it's going to start the test. And if you go into stats, and this is a brand new funnel, so there's not really a lot of traffic here. Just starting ads for this funnel today, actually. So there will be some traffic coming into it soon. But as you can see, we now have two versions of the page and the stats. So once traffic starts hitting this, we'll be able to see the opt-in and sales rate, whatever type of page it is, for the control and the variation. And that's where we'll be able to tell if our changes are making a difference or not. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is this. And what you may not realize about Clickfunnels is if you send your ad traffic to this page, I'm not on the same page anymore, but I'm just trying to illustrate the principle. So if we were to visit this URL, TWC1, which is the URL of that first page, shows up. So it does a redirect. You may not know it that it's doing it, but it's doing a redirect from the first URL to the actual page URL. So every time you do a redirect, it slows your load time down a little bit. And if your funnel loads too slow, you can get a huge bounce rate, and it could impact your split test. Here's why. A lot of people, I think, just copy and paste this URL, which if you do that to use in your ads, you're avoiding that redirect. So you're going to load a little bit faster. But when you do your split test, if you use this top URL, you're going to have a redirect every time. So your load speed may be a little bit different, and it could impact, just because you're using that URL, it could impact your split test. But here is something else that I've discovered, and I don't know if this is really the intention. So this page is now approved monthly 1 to the URL, and this is approved monthly 2, and I got a split test going. So there's approved monthly 1, approved monthly 2, right? So if I take this URL, copy it. Now, to illustrate this properly, we really need to do an incognito window because Clickfunnels sets a cookie and it remembers which version of the split test you landed on, if it can, and it'll keep showing you that one if you come back. But here's the trick. If you send the traffic, even though you're running the split test, to approved monthly 1, the system will still conduct the split test. But I believe you avoid that. You avoid one redirect here. I haven't tested this. I have no idea if it works or not, but it's just a test idea for you. But the biggest pitfall is that integration that we talked about when you make your page variation, the URL. I like to just set them so they're very similar to the control, just to make sure it doesn't impact anything. And always use 50-50. So I hope these little split testing tips were helpful. If you could, I'd love for you to follow my page, subscribe, and I'm going to be posting more and more of these videos on a regular basis on all about digital marketing and testing your sales funnels and your ads and your websites to increase conversions, but not just conversions, more importantly, to increase your profits. So lowering your ad cost, your acquisition cost, and increasing your revenue. That's what we're all about here at Test with Chris. So I hope you tune in again next time. I hope this was a helpful video for you. And I'd love to have you join my Facebook group as well. I'll post a link to it. But it's Test with Chris official. It's my free Facebook group. So love to see you on the inside. We do share a little bit more information in there than we do on the page here or on YouTube. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks for listening, and hope this was helpful for you. Thanks, everyone.